Court. And let's bring in now former Assistant U.S. Attorney David Weinstein. He's now with the Hinshaw Law Firm. Good to see you as always, David.
Always a pleasure to be here.
Okay, so let's talk about Alan Dershowitz, a member of the president's legal team. He made a pretty remarkable argument today. Let's listen to that.
They never allege that it was based on pure financial reasons. It would be a much harder case if a hypothetical president of the United States said to a hypothetical leader of a foreign country, unless you build a hotel with my name on it, and unless you give me $1 million kickback, I will withhold the funds. That's an easy case. That's purely corrupt and in the purely private interest. But a complex middle case is, I want to be elected. I think I'm a great president. I think I'm the greatest president there ever was. And if I'm not elected, the national interest will suffer greatly. That cannot be an impeachable offense.
What is your reaction to that?
Well, that was a classic law professor example of Socratic learning here. I'm going to give you the ultimate example of what would qualify, and then I'm going to come up with something that I think is closer to the facts, and you tell me what your interpretation is. What he left out from all of that was whether it was this president or any other president or any other candidate, if the intent of their statements that I'm great and I want to be elected was to insert themselves into something privately for a private benefit, then he is committing that abuse of power. So maybe not as clear-cut as the first example he gave, but certainly a lot closer to what they're alleging in the articles of impeachment.
Let me ask you about the questions that were posed to the attorneys by the senators that the Chief Justice read. I thought they were either very self-serving questions directed at attorneys on their side, or they were reinforcing arguments that we already heard. Were they shining any light or bringing us any closer to the truth, in your opinion?
No, very disappointed. When I turned it on today to listen to the beginning and to see where we were going to go down this road, I thought perhaps they would start by asking hard questions to the other side. Here's where I'm having a problem, so you convince me that your point is right. There were one or two questions like that for the most part. It devolved into, here's what I want you to make a point for me. And it was clear that they had prepared each of their own sides for some of these questions, because you don't walk up to a podium on a cold question with graphics ready, with answers ready, with things that are going to highlight what you've just been asked. It seems it's not an opportunity to get into what really happened here, but rather to bolster each side's position and create more evidence for each of them and not to chip away at the other side.
So did you see anything in any of this line of questioning that opened room for doubt on the other side?
What I saw open was a question in each senator's mind, what standard should I be using? Because that was one of the questions they asked a lot about. Are we going to be looking proof beyond a reasonable doubt? Do we need to go that far? Is just preponderance going to be enough? Tip the scales? That, to me, was one of the areas that each of these senators needs to consider. What standard am I going to use? And then the question of, are we going to call witnesses? As we heard in one of the earlier clips, you might as well hear it from the person who testified. And it shouldn't be tied to, I'll call two, you call two. The way a trial proceeds is that the prosecution presents their evidence and their witnesses to prove their case. So they're going to call the witnesses they believe they need. If the defense wants to call witnesses, that's independent. Maybe you're just going to argue the proof isn't there. So the two shouldn't be joined at the hips together. I'd like to hear testimony from people who have to swear under oath. This is what I heard and this is what was said. That's what you should listen to at a trial.
Well, this is very unlike cases that we have seen before.
Nothing like anything I've ever experienced.
That's all right, David. Thank you very much. David Weinstein. Okay.